It's February 2026, and the Tokyo market seems to be pricing in this massive landslide for the hawkish conservatives. Every screener I pull up is just screaming, buy, assuming this whole thing is a done deal. But you're telling me the smart money isn't even watching the victory speech.
The victory itself is already priced in. If you're betting on that, you're late to the party. The sophisticated trade right now, the institutional play, is all about the margin. They're literally counting seats, and they're hunting for one specific number, 261.
261. In most Western systems, 51% is enough to run the show. Why is that exact number the holy grail in Japanese politics?
Because it's what they call Zettai Antei Tasu, the absolute stable majority. And in Nagatacho, which is basically Tokyo's Capitol Hill, hitting 261, well, it changes the rules of the game.
It's not just about passing laws.
Not at all. It means the ruling party gets to monopolize every single standing committee chair post.
And the chair controls the entire agenda.
Exactly. They decide what bills even get a hearing. Without 261, the opposition can stall, they can delay, they can bury controversial stuff in committee forever. With 261, the ruling party controls the clock. Things like the new security clearance bill or active cyber defense, they go on the fast track. From proposal to law, just like that.
So legislative speed is the alpha here. If the hurdles are gone, you can front-run the beneficiaries. But, okay, let's look at the obvious play then. Defense primes like Mitsubishi Heavy, 7 to 11. I'm looking at valuations that frankly make my eyes water. The street has been piling in for months. Are we just chasing a narrative?
That's common bear case, sure, and I get the valuation concern. But you have to shift your thinking. This isn't a speculative war trade. This is a confirmed order backlog trade. The defense budget is structurally locked on a path to 2% of GDP.
You're talking about the Global Combat Air Program, GCAP.
Right. A stable majority is what guarantees the budget execution for that program. Think about these long-term government contracts. They're basically AAA-rated bonds, but with equity upside. There's zero risk of some gridlocked committee cutting the funding. That cash flow is confirmed.
Okay, that makes sense for the hardware. A safe, if expensive, bet.
I've been digging into the other side of it, though. The infrastructure you need to actually run all this new tech, I'm talking about the security clearance mandates.
And that's where the 261-seat majority becomes even more critical. Stricter SC laws are very high on their agenda. And once they pass, the government's going to say only companies with gold standard clearance can even bid on classified projects.
Wow, that just builds a massive moat around the legacy players. I was looking at NEC 6701. They already run the backbone for the self-defense forces, the police, the whole My Number system. A startup can't just build that kind of trust and compliance overnight. They can't. It's impossible. What you're looking at is a state-sanctioned oligopoly. NEC and, say, Fujitsu don't just win because their tech is better. They win because they're the only ones allowed in the room.
That's a powerful moat. But we have to talk about the cost of all this.
Right.
This entire thesis hinges on the Takaichi doctrine, right? High spending, aggressive fiscal stimulus. It feels like Abenomics on steroids.
It is. A big victory for her faction is basically a guarantee that subsidies keep flowing. It's a huge policy put under national projects like Rapidus up in Hokkaido and TSMC down in Kumamoto. It protects that whole semiconductor equipment sector, even if the global economy starts to look soft.
But that level of spending has to invite inflation pressure. And if inflation really heats up, the Bank of Japan has to react. They have to hike rates, and that would just torch small and mid-cap growth stocks. And what about the sell the news risk? What if they win, but they only get, say, 255 seats?
Then the entire thesis breaks, immediately. If they miss 261, we're right back to political gridlock. The market hates that kind of uncertainty. All that valuation premium on defense and semis, it would evaporate overnight.
So the trade isn't really buy defense, it's buy the seat count.
It's a binary trade on political arithmetic, that's all it is. 261 is the line between a stagnant market and a high conviction rally.
The takeaway for this deep dive is clear then. Don't just watch the victory speeches. Watch the seat count. 261 is the magic number. If they hit it, the floodgates open. If they miss, well, look out below.